What's going on, YouTube? How are you guys out there today? I'm Miss Tony Tenderoni. This is my amazing, wonderful husband,
Jizzy the introvert,
and we are Hobson Love. So today, you guys, we are going to give you a story time. What story time, might you ask? I like saying that, right?
something juicy though.
Something juicy. True. Hubby is right. So we're doing a story time for one, to allow you guys to get to know us a little better, because you will be seeing us a lot more. And also, we would like to do it because we feel like it will help others out there. This story time is about the feels, the beginnings of a throuple relationship. You know, it's just like, you know, when somebody's doing something for the first time, maybe even a boyfriend and a girlfriend, that first time actually being on a date, actually dating, etc., etc. The first time is always those feels that you go through, right? But imagine it being 3 people, right? Throuple relationship.
Tripod, whatever you call it.
Whatever you want to call it. It's intense, okay? It could be intense. You learn more about yourself. You learn more about, if you're already in a relationship like us, you learn more about your partner, especially when you think you already knew everything. And you begin to learn more when another person is involved. That's not a bad thing, but it can be a surprising thing, right?
Yeah, the other person could bring something out that you possibly forgot to mention in the beginning of a relationship.
Very true. And it's different strokes for different folks, right? But depending on the type of person that you date, they can bring out different parts of you. And so that was sort of the case in our situation. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into it. So our very first throuple relationship was back in 2018.
It was a while.
It was crazy. We're gonna get into how we initially hooked up with her, and then we'll get off into how things went, and then lastly we'll end it with how things ended for us. So that at that time, me and hubby were on POF, and we quickly came to realize that trying to find someone as a couple was not working. You know, it was still new for us, and even then we weren't even familiar with the term polyamory. Like we said before, we initially decided to start using the term polyamory when we allowed ourselves to become more educated on what it was and what it meant. But our first girlfriend, we were not using the term because we were not even familiar with it as much as we are now.
We were just a couple looking for love.
Absolutely.
Or more love.
True, more love, because we already got a whole lot of it amongst one another, but we were just a couple looking for more love. So again, back to POF. We were not getting anywhere with being a couple and trying to find a significant other. It just wasn't working.
Yeah, I thought we were just swingers up on there.
It was annoying, very. So we decided to make separate profiles, which is what we did. So we were both getting back attention. You know, we were getting hits from females. But the issue with him was that whenever he would let a woman know that he had someone, they wouldn't talk anymore. It was done. With me, I was getting hits, but it was like an in-between, where you had some females, it's like, okay, you're taken by a guy. A lot of them were just fully lesbian. And even if we came across bisexual women, they were on there as a couple. So finally, we got a hit from someone. And the approach we decided to take based on what we were already experiencing was a different approach. So this young lady inboxed me, and I did let her know that I had someone, but I didn't want to talk about it. I'm like, I'm not going to get off into it, but I do have someone. I am just, my significant other understands that I am bisexual, and they're fine with me having a girlfriend. And that was that. And she was cool with that. Like, she didn't ask too much more after that, which really helped. So moving along, we go on our first date. And we just kind of like laid a little more out on the table, but still I wasn't getting too much off into my relationship. She did ask a few questions, but again, she wasn't trying to ask too much. She was respecting it. And I'm like, yeah, it's a guy. We have been together for some time, but I don't want to talk about it. Like, I'm trying to get to know you, whatever. So that was really it on the first date. Just getting to know each other a little more. moving along to the second date. This is where things get a little intense. So we go on our second date. We meet up at a restaurant. She comes to me with flowers. It's just like super cute and everything. We go sit down, we have a good time. So of course the night is near ending, and we pretty much wasn't ready to part ways. So we went and sat at the park and we just talked and we're kicking it. And so hubby had started calling me, and I told her, you know, I need to be excused. I need to go and talk to my partner. He's calling. So I stepped out the car and answered the phone for him. But he was heated. He was upset with me because it's like, you're supposed to be home already.
She broke rule number 1.
Tell them what rule number 1 is, babe.
Rule number 1 is you follow the guidelines and boundaries and all of that. We had set down a lot of boundaries and everything, so she was supposed to follow them. But time was going, they was having a little bit more fun, and then she crossed it.
I did tell him, I'm like, I'm right up the street. It was like literally around the corner from my house. I'm like, I'm right up the street at the park. But at this point, he wasn't trying to hear none of it, and I understood. So now I'm like getting all nervous, and I get back in the car, and because she's already looking, and she's like, is everything okay? And I'm like, yeah. But then hubby calls again, and I'm just like, whew, I know he's gonna be fussing. And so she's like, just answer it. Just answer the phone.
As quiet as I am, I can go off.
Very true. He's definitely an introvert, but between us, you know, he can get upset. Of course, I would know I'm his wife. You know,
Taurus in me.
It's never nothing crazy. Like, you know, we don't fear one another. He might fear me a little. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, he was upset, and I understood that. So I answered the phone in the car, and he's like going off, and she can hear him fussing. And so after a while of the fussing, she wants to talk. She wants to say, I just want to say, you know, she get on the phone, she speak her piece. I didn't know. She was trying to play both of us.
No, I'm just fine. I ain't say that.
He did it. But she was trying to tell him she's trying to play both of us. And I'm just like, no, that's not even, you obviously don't have a clue if that's what you think, because he's aware of the situation. It's just pretty much, that was one of the guidelines.
It was GP right there. That was the game plan. We already knew everything was going on, but the only thing was she was supposed to be at home at a certain time, or let me know she was going to be out a little longer.
Yeah.
It didn't go like that.
It didn't. It didn't. And I felt really bad.
Yeah. What was it, 12 o'clock? And I called at 12:01.
It was kind of like crossing the time though. So anyway, she said her piece or whatever, and then we end up letting her know, like, at this point, like, the cat's out the bag. I end up letting her know, like, look, we're married. We've been together for this amount of time. We were initially looking for another female to bring in. She was upset about it, and I understood that she was upset. I'm like, I understand that you feel like the way we went about it was more like steering you wrong. And that wasn't the plan. We weren't trying to steer her wrong. We were just trying to find a better approach. Again, we're new at this, you know, and it was all in good intentions. We were just trying to find the right one, and we were just looking for different ways to do that.
Facts. We didn't even know there was a whole community out there, so we were so new. We were
really new. Even me coming out, like, that had been something that that we had established, of course, a while ago. But at this point in time, we were actually looking for somebody to date. So we're in the stage of now actually trying to find somebody to date, and it was the first time for us. So anyway, after the fussing and the bussing and all this mess, and me letting her know what the deal was, she pretty much was like, "What the F? I don't want to F your man. I don't want your man.
I don't want your man. Come on now.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't get to know me yet."
She didn't after she said her piece to him on the phone, and it was that, you know, I don't want to this and all that. Okay, fine. I'm like, you know what? I respect it. That's fine. Let her be. Came around time, sometime in August, and it was actually on our daughter's birthday, to be more precise. And she calls, and she's like, you know, I thought about it, and I really like you, and from what you told me, he sounds like an amazing guy, so I'm willing to give it a chance. Okay, so now we're on day 3. but initially date one for the three of us. We all go out. We have a great time, okay,
Right.
to where it was late.
Yeah, it was good enough that I even hit my little two-step.
All that good stuff with his fine self. But we had a great time that night. Like, we really did, to the point where it was so late where she ended up coming back to the house and staying over, and we did nothing, right? It was just like a genuine feel, like we literally all laid in the bed, like just all lined up, and it was cool. And the next day, you know, she enjoyed our company so much, she was just like, okay, I can't wait to come back and visit again. So we hung out again, actually, and we did an escape room.
Yeah.
And
we
I
knew the
think
chemistry was there
again.
because we ended up escaping.
We did. We beat the level. It was like so dope. Like, the vibes was all there. It was all good, and we were just like, man, this is what it feels like. This is how nice it is. But also, mind you, the process was kind of moving fast because it was new. But we were just going with the feels, going with the vibes. So now I think like day 3, we go to a friend of mine's birthday party, and we all show up together. We're just like, you know what? If we're gonna do this, we're not gonna be ashamed. Like, we're here. We're gonna say it for what it is. Whatever.
Pictures on our IG, Hobson Love.
It is. We do have pictures up there. Check it out. Of course, my friends were just a little confused because they hadn't known this about me, so they were just like, what? I mean, the one who party I went to, I had told her because I was a little closer to her, and I told her some things, but other people that I knew there were just like, okay. So it'll be times that I would actually get up from the table and they'll still be sitting there and they'll be looking at them and looking at her like she was just dirty. And so you can kind of understand when someone who's coming into a relationship, when they say they feel like everybody just looks at you like you're just like the whore, you know. That's how they was kind of eyeing her. And we really introduced her genuinely, right? Like the homewrecker when she was there for the both of us. So anyway, we had another amazing night that night. The night turned out beautifully. And so she started to come over to the house. We introduced her to our kids as a friend of mine who I went to school with. And that's how they saw her. Like, our kids, they trust our word because we're always honest with them, unless we have to say something in this case like that, because we needed to tell them in a more like appropriate setting, and that just wasn't the time. We were all new and all still trying to figure things out, so we
didn't want to confuse them, and we were still trying to figure each other out.
Exactly. So we weren't going to tell them until we had things figured out, so it was no need to say it then if we didn't know if things were going to go anywhere. We're kind of glad we didn't at the time. We didn't tell them until we fully became polyamorous, and that's when we told them because we were for sure. So they hadn't even known it. They ended up finding out about her, of course, after when we told them we were polyamory. But and surprisingly, they were surprised. That's just how respectful we was about everything. Nothing was ever done in front of them. Nothing ever inappropriate. So they didn't know. She would come over as a friend. She would stay over, and everything was presentable the way that things should have been. And you know, after some time, it just kind of started getting to the point of now we're seeing each other's side because we're all in the same home and we're just seeing each other's sides the way that how everybody is. I'll back up just a little bit to say, when she first came, it was almost as if she was like more so trying to get my attention more. Like it was like competition at first. Then she started to get like more and more comfortable with him.
She got mad comfortable with me. You know, Mrs. I don't want your man.
Exactly. He became ideal. I want your man. And so one night we had actually we were actually gonna hook up. You know, this is after a while of us talking and everything. This particular night we were gonna hook up. Hubby wasn't feeling it too much that night, I think because we had all had words earlier that day.
Oh man.
Yeah, it got to that point. Yeah, we would literally, because one thing we don't like to do is we do not like to argue in front of our kids. And me and him are having a debate or argument or whatever, we will excuse ourselves. We like to excuse ourselves so that they don't hear it. And so when we start having these situations, we would go for a walk outside and we're fussing at each other because we're still all
the kids didn't hear it, but the neighbors heard it all. So, you know, they had their popcorn ready. So, oh shit, it's Tuesday?
likely they finna be out here going at it. But it was just words back and forth, seriously. And we would walk all the way to the park, just going back and forth at it, standing at the park, then walking back home once we started to calm down. And this particular night, you know, like I said, we were gonna do our thing, and hubby just wasn't feeling it because of the situation, and it was because it was more so of them than we were all having words, but she was trying like to be more fussy at him, and he was not feeling that.
That's every woman's go-to, fuss at the man.
I wasn't talking about you, I'm talking about him. And so he like, what? What? So now, later that night, we're ready. So he's like, I'm not feeling it that much, but if y'all two get it going, I'll eventually come around, I'll come in. So we were getting it going, and it just wasn't, you could just see like the spark wasn't there like from the first time it happened. The first time was great. The spark wasn't there this time.
The women gotta connect first.
Absolutely, and of course at this time we were having our fusses because she went from being more into me, like trying to make it into a competition, then being more into him, and then now me and her having words back and forth. And it wasn't so much as jealousy, it was just like we couldn't understand where's this coming from. Why does it almost seem like we're all competing, like you're competing for our attention separately when we're supposed to be in this together. And so when they got around to it and things are spicing up and we're getting into it, I don't know where she goes, I don't want this right now, I want some right now. And then she tries to go and jump up and grab him, and he's like, no, again, no. Like,
it was the
that
last
was the
straw
plan.
right
Yeah, it was the last straw for
Yeah,
me.
because I just knew like that was gonna be the bad outcome. I knew afterwards, yeah, we was gonna have our little fun or whatever during it, but afterwards it was gonna be a big ass problem. I just wasn't with it.
Mm-hmm. Because it was still tension there. We needed to clear up the tension, and we hadn't cleared it up, you know? So after that, things only continue to be argumentative, to just moods being off. And that was even at one point where he was coming to get me from school. And he's always on time. Whenever he come to get me from anywhere, work, school, whatever the case may be.
I probably should tell my story first on that part. Yeah. Well, we were just chilling. I just dropped her off at school, and then I came back to the crib, and of course she was laying in the bed, and we was just chilling, talking, you know, getting to know each other and everything. And then I ended up realizing the time, like, all right, she's out of class. I'm about to leave. So I let her know. And I just seen a little sad face like she had. And I'm like, what's good? Like, what's wrong with you? And she's like, nothing. I want to go. And I'm like, all right, well, you need to bring your ass on. It's like a certain time I got to be up there. And she's pretty fussy when I come up there late. So I'm just over there like, all right, come on, we need to go. She's taking a little sweet time, you know. She over there putting on her clothes all slow, staring at me. She want to hug and kiss. I'm like, yo, let's go. Like, what's up with that? Like, you know, it seemed like she was purposely trying to be late. Mm-hmm. And once we hopped in the car, it was just, she wanted to hold hands, you know. She wanted to, you know, play certain music that she did not like and everything. And I'm just like, oh man, this is not gonna turn out well. And then right when we pulled up on it, take it away.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna back up just a little bit. Like he said, I am fussy, and that's why he's always on time. From the first time he seen me go off about being late, after that his accuracy was on point. So I wasn't expecting him to be late, especially not like, okay, they're at the house hanging out, both of y'all, because at this point she knew too. So it should be no reason with both of y'all there that I'm being late to be picked up. Well, they pull up late. Not only pull up late, I'm looking at my Snapchat.
Let me tell you how fussy she or how she is. She started walking. That's how I knew we were in trouble. Mm-hmm. She took off walking. It wasn't just no regular walk. It was like, it had to be like at least a block.
Probably a little more.
Probably a little more.
Yeah, because I was pissed, okay? So I'm viewing my Snapchat, still waiting because I'm on fire. And she's on there and they're all like, you know, rubbing and touching, and she got her hand behind his head and all this is going on. And that wasn't the issue. The issue was the fact that they were late and they were doing all this to a song that I do not care for. I don't have to mention it. I'm not even gonna mention it. But it was a song that I just do not like. And she knew it too. So I'm just like, oh, okay, it's a joke. It's fun time. It's funny time. It's, let's piss Tony off time.
I had to smile in the camera and everything because you gotta remember, I am entertaining our so-called girlfriend. So I couldn't make it awkward or uncomfortable and everything when we're trying to connect at that moment.
True. But the timing was all wrong.
It was bad.
It was. So when they finally do pull up and I'm already some minutes away from the school, she's about to hop out the front seat. I'm like, no, stay in the front seat. I'm getting it back. So I'm just in the car and I'm just, they turned the music down with no music going. It's quiet.
In the back of my head, y'all, because I'm looking through the rear view mirror and she just staring. And I'm just like, ooh.
They both know I was upset. So we get back to the house and the kids obviously weren't there. They were at school and it went down. I'm talking about coming from left and right. I was going off, okay? It went there. And it resulted in just like even more tension, okay? Like it was crazy. So now we're trying to get back to the point of patching us up. And it was just, it was still there. It was still there, and it sucks because we were trying to figure out how to take it down, how to bring it down, but it just wasn't going down. So finally, we started to spend less time with one another, and I remember her coming over for a Halloween party that she went to with us, and the vibe just wasn't on. Like, it was people at the party that was flirting with her, and at this point hubby was just like,
she was dressed as a unicorn.
She was.
Funny, huh?
And hubby like kind of didn't even care, like whatever, and she would come let us know. It wasn't like she was trying to flirt with them.
She got real tipsy to the point that I damn near had to carry her out.
He actually did. He went and got her, like once she had got that tipsy, he went and got her and he took her to the car and everything, because we were already wrapping it up because she was super tipsy and everything. But
so it was like the feelings were still there, but as you as our girlfriend, it was like I just was not feeling that no more.
It just kind of started to die down. The newness, the us trying to figure it out, and the pace, we moved way too fast. So after that Halloween party, it was cool. And then Halloween came around, and we actually went trick-or-treating, and she went with us. And this particular night, hubby had to work, and she wanted to see him before he went to work, but he was like, just tell her I said hi, and he got up out of there and he left, and she felt it. She got that, she was, she said it, she was just like, I feel like he didn't even want to see me, and she just felt really bad, because again, too, like, it was all of us, but at the time she was kind of causing the issues more. But it's not to say like we blame her, because it was just new. Like, I can't express that enough. It was new. On top of the fact that we were very close with one another, like we would do our normal touching. Like, we have a routine, I guess. Like, it's not like it's practice, it's just natural. Where when we're in the car, he has his hands on my leg, I may touch the back of his head, and it's just like a natural thing for us. And when she's in the car, she sees it, and that bothered her too. And we just wasn't 100% educated on just sharing that attention. So she would see that and she felt a way about it. And because me and her did actually get to go on our first date, she was really keen on them having their first date. But at this time, he just wasn't so big on it no more, just because of our attention. And she kept saying, we need to have our first date. We need to go out so we can get to know each other more, And I was like, I'm fine with it. I actually just wanted them to go ahead and get it out the way. But he didn't want to go until things got figured out.
I wanted to be like in a good environment,
with all of us.
Even though she's saying she was okay with it, like now or at the moment, I didn't feel like once we came, it was gonna be okay from all of us. I felt like it was just gonna be like, I just felt like it was gonna be mad awkward.
And so moving forward, we took some time apart again, a little more than before, and then finally she came around again, and we just had this big blowout because of her. It was like she would say certain things to him, and then she would say certain things to me, and it almost kind of felt like she was trying to tear us apart. but I think it was just off the fact that, hey, I'm not getting enough attention. Like, what can I do in this situation? So we really don't feel like it was just really intentional. Like, I just want them to break up. It was just, she was just trying to find a way to get more attention from both of us.
If we can do it again, it would have been a lot better because we did our research, we studied, we know what we are now. We know how to go by things, we know how to talk to them, we know how to move different now. We totally different people.
Funny story,
Polly Queen right here. So we're good now.
And even a funnier story, we did try to get back with her like after 2 years later, once we were more educated on what we were doing and we were like 100% ready and we had already been through a few experiences. We found that she seemed like the best person for us based on other people that we had experienced. So
mad comfortable.
Really. And so we did, but she was already taken at the time. She definitely was happy to hear that we cared that way and that we wanted her back just from the way things ended. We ended on a good note, but it was still the fact that everybody wasn't ready to be apart. Like, hubby initially made the final decision to say, hey, no, this not gonna work. We need to separate until we figure our ish out because it's not working right now. But she wasn't ready to go. She wasn't ready to go. And I felt how he felt because it was just too much tension and we really need to figure it out. And that's why she respected, because although she knew that, she just wasn't ready to go. And we wasn't ready to not see her anymore. But so she would still come around, but after a while, she just kind of felt like, I'm only hurting myself because we're not together and I'm used to us being together. So me coming around being just a friend is not gonna work for me. And we understood it, respected it. So of course, a lot of time went by. A few times, we would call on holidays, et cetera, et cetera. And we even wanted her to come over.
On her. She still likes it, so we know it's something there.
Yeah, she said it. Like, we all care for one another, like, very deeply. But after a while, like, we would want her to come over and she just like wouldn't come. And that was her.
Loyal. She's mad loyal. So the girl that she's with right now, she's respecting the relationship.
As she should, that's how it should be.
That's what drawing us up.
But yeah, like when it all came down to it, she had somebody else and we respected it. And it was that. Yeah, that is our first experience. That's our story of our first experience with our first girlfriend. We hope that this will help anybody out there who is going through those same feels or they're trying to figure things out and understand why. Just know that it's normal. It's not a bad thing to go through those experiences, It's a part of life. Those are natural emotions, and what better way than to go through that, to better understand it, to better appreciate it in the future when you do have your ish figured out, right? And that was that. It was a beautiful experience. It was like a beautiful nightmare, if you will, sweet dream, beautiful nightmare type of situation. But we are happy that it ended well, and we are still on a good note with her.
We're probably gonna text her right after this.
Yeah, just to reach out. Because we fly like that, because we got that bond, respectfully, of course. But that is our story time, you guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment below. Please feel free to subscribe while you're at it. Also like this video, whatever you want to do. Send feedback. Send your story if you want to. Send questions, like whatever you feel the need to do. Ask us. We're here. We have no problem with answering it because we have went through it. And I think it's always nice when someone puts something out there that you're unsure about or that you're going through, because it always helps. And again, like we said, we gave this story for you guys to get a better feel of who we are and to help other people who is going through something like this in the beginning. But we thank you guys for joining us. We do have more to come, so please stay tuned. We're super excited. And that's that. We're Hobson Love. We appreciate you guys.
I wish I could see her whole outfit right here looking mad sexy, but... But that's the end of the video.
That's the end of the video. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment, etc., all the other stuff. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.